death is coming, I'ma greet
So
him
live
with
it up, nigga, we gon' live it up. So can't get enough, ain't no bottom to my cup, no. Let's split it up, you know how I like my blunts, bro. If I'ma go tonight, then I'ma do it right. So live it up, nigga, we gon' live it up. So can't get enough, ain't no bottom to my cup, no. Let's split it up, you know how I like my blunts, bro. If I'ma go tonight, then I'ma do it right, yeah.
I woke up and the city was on fire. You could see the pandemonium for miles. I've been living with this feeling for a while. If death is coming, I'ma greet him with us. I've been living like push the pedal to the metal till I see the flag blowing chunks out the ozone while I burn the gas crackers on my ass. Think I'm finna crash. I ain't worried till I hit the curb. Vision blurs, learn every word. Coop in this filled with different flavors. They just wanna live something I could give life in the 16. Painting pictures like the 16. Even now I'm on my back staring at the ceiling wondering what this shit mean. I don't wanted this my whole life. Now I'm here feeling so right. Getting faded in the strobe lights. Nigga, I could do this all night. Show me life, show me love, show me something real, show me something brand new. Take your time, ain't no rush. I just wanna feel everything you've been through. We ain't leaving till they shut it down. So take advantage when it come around. Doing damage every time we out. They gon' remember me without a doubt.
Nigga, we gon' live it up, so can't get enough, ain't no bottom to my cup, no. Let's split it up, you know how I like my blunts, bro. If I'ma go tonight, then I'ma do it right. So live it up, nigga, we gon' live it up, so can't get enough, ain't no bottom to my cup, no. Let's split it up, you know how I like my blunts, bro. If I'ma go tonight, then I'ma do it right, yeah.
I woke up and the city was on fire. You could see the pandemonium for miles. I've been living with this feeling for a while. If death is coming, I'ma greet him with us. Everyone dies, but have you been living? Take full advantage of what you've been given. You woke up, you winning. If that ain't enough, fuck up a check and go live it up. Me and my niggas, we pull up and not ready or not. Before you know it, I'm feeling the vibe. Hard to ignore it, I can't even try, and that be a lie. Look, I seen a lot, but it's all over. Once you were left, I just crossed over. Cup full of Henny without soda. Remedy anything life throw you. On D&D for the night, so gold. Leave me a message when that toll roll. I hate you back when I get focused. Right now I'm on it and buy loaded. Look, the city is live and I'm trying to ride the wave. So let me get by, I'm here for a night, then I got a flight to take. But when I return, the city gon' burn, cause I'm bringing all the flame. My nigga, it's all a game. My nigga, it's all a game.
Live it up, nigga, we gon' live it up, so can't get enough, ain't no bottom to my cup, no. Let's split it up, you know how I like my blunts, bro. If I'ma go tonight, then I'm
All right, everybody, welcome once again to the Uninformed Fan Podcast. I'm your host, Business Time. Along with me is my good friend Jeffrey. How we doing today, Jeffrey?
You know, it's somber moods right now after what we witnessed on Monday night. But, you know, I'm excited. We're here on a Thursday. You know, I appreciate the accommodations that were made to be able to get this show taken care of as I take off for a little R&R for the next few days up in Washington, D.C. with one of my best friends, Joe Corvelli. I'm excited to see him and his family and, you know, go up there. How about you?
Has Joe subscribed to the podcast yet?
I think he might have liked. I'm not sure if he says subscribe.
Oh.
We'll definitely send him this episode.
Absolutely.
Today.
Joe, this episode is dedicated to you.
Straight to you, big man.
Well, it's a Thursday. You know, I don't really have my bearings yet. You know, it usually takes me till about 2 o'clock to realize what day I'm on. So, you know,
I understand that.
We're getting up and getting going. So, what do you guys got planned for old Mr. Joe down there in Washington, D.C.?
So we're gonna have a great time. We're staying right in the heart of the action. JW Marriott, Pennsylvania Ave. It's gonna be an amazing time. We got a few tours planned. It's funny because we we booked a White House tour actually. So we'll be at the White House tomorrow. Are you familiar with the protocol at all that goes behind trying to get into the White House and get a tour of the White House?
I am familiar with it.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. So what you have to do is you have to reach out to your state representative, and basically you have to submit everybody in your group. You have to submit background checks in terms of social security number, passports, the whole 9 yards. They do an extensive background check on you, and then from there they will notify you whether or not you're accepted into the tour. The funny part is that we did this back in December. Well, we were approved back in December, but what happened January 1st? Everything changed over for Congress. So the person who had done it for us then sent us a thing saying that person's no longer here. Your tour has been canceled. We had to resubmit all the paperwork. We're very blessed, very blessed. My kids are very excited. We just got the news last night around 5:30 in the afternoon that President and Dr. Joe Biden will be accepting us into the White House. So should be a good time for my kids. See a little bit of history. Going to go see the Declaration. Do all the monuments, do everything like that, and eat some really, really good food while we're there as well too. So.
Well, I do have a question. So, do you have to disclose your? And I don't need you to disclose yours. Do you have to disclose your party affiliation when you're doing this?
Absolutely not.
Oh, I was going to say.
In fact, I'm pretty
because that
sure
would be some funny shit.
Well, I'm pretty sure that somebody in my party is going to be wearing a T-shirt that says "Daddy DeSantis" on it. So so that listen, whatever you affiliate with,
whatever.
We don't fucking care, to be honest with you.
No, we really don't. So, do you get to meet the old man, or do you get to see him wander in the halls in his slippers and robe?
Right. Well, I'm assuming he would be escorted by a few different Secret Service agents to make sure that he gets from point A to point B successfully. To be honest with you, I'm not really sure what it all entails. I did it 20 years ago when me and my mom showed up at 4:30 in the morning. We sat in these bleachers. They bust you over. It was a very quick tour, and you were in and out. I have no idea what this one entails. I'll be more than happy to report on it on Monday when I come back.
Can we get a live stream, maybe? A little live stream? Probably not allowed to take video, huh?
I don't think you're allowed to live stream your tour of the White House after all the background checks that I just went through. But, listen, it's always better to ask for forgiveness than permission. That's how I live my life.
Just strap a GoPro on it, man, and get going. Good morning. Good morning, Good morning, Marcus. Good to see you in the stream again, buddy.
God, Buff's in here already, man. He is ready for this. He's out for blood.
You know that he's been waiting all day. We changed the date. He's like, I ain't missing this shit.
Right. Well, we changed the day just so we could try to avoid all this, but here we are now.
Yeah. So we already did a recap of of the games on Monday before we left for the debacle in Tampa. As you can see on the bottom right here, I think it's right here. We do have our record picks. Obviously, Business Time had a good week. 4-2. Jeffrey was at 3-3. The Bucks game. We both kind of knew what was going to happen, but when you're a fan of a team, you don't want to see the writing on the wall. But let's get into the Bucks game. Jeffrey had some really good seats. He was up there with some of the hobnobs with the players' families. Hobnobbing, getting the uninformed fan out there. Jeffrey, talk to me. What happened to our Bucks?
Yeah, so I was blessed enough to have one of my good friends who actually is on the team right now, but he reached out and offered me tickets, and so we were able. Me and my wife went. It was her first ever NFL playoff game, or first ever NFL game, period, football game, period. Which was an interesting dynamic as well, being with your wife because we're about halfway through the second quarter, and she turns to me, very very inquisitive look on her face, and goes, "Didn't they just have a third down?" And I go, they did, and they got a first down, and now they have another third down. So that was the kind of dynamic that we had. But we had a great time, honestly. Despite the outcome of the game, it was cool to be in that space and be around all those families. And it was obviously very somber considering the way the game went. Breaking the game down, it just we started off and. The way we started off, the defense was on fire. I kept on talking about we had to bring the aggression to the table. Those first two drives were great. And then all of a sudden, it just became quicksand. A play happens here. Dak looked great. I got to give Dak his flowers, okay? I've been very critical of Dak his entire career that he has been in the NFL. I think he sucks as a quarterback. He made me eat my words on Monday night. He was great. He was efficient. He got outside of the pocket. He picked up huge first downs. That goal line play with the play fake where, everybody knew it was a play fake and a bootleg except for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was a great play. I do question why we had KJ Britt, who played one snap at linebacker the entire season, on the field for 4th and 3 from the goal line with your season on the line. And of course he bites on the play fake, I don't blame the kid at all. I blame our coaches for putting him in that position. Listen, Dallas looked like a better team. I mentioned Dalton Schultz on the podcast when we were talking about it. He fried us. Tight ends always fry us. I don't know why that is, because Levante and Devin are great linebackers. And for some reason, we struggle so much against the tight end. It's really mind-boggling to me. other than that, I mean, the Bucks were just inept in everything that we did. Defense is supposed to be our calling card, and defense didn't keep us in the game. The only reason we were still actually in the game is because their kicker missed 4 kicks, which was absurd. I remember I looked at the score and I'm like, there's been 5 touchdowns scored and not 1 extra point has gone through. Because remember the Bucks went for it when they were down 24-6 to try to make it 24-8. We didn't get it, obviously. The offensive line wasn't great.
I was already gone by then.
Yeah, I think you might have left already. The offensive line wasn't great. I thought that Donovan Smith played a really bad game. Listen, Micah Parsons, that defensive line is no joke as well too. Tom is the greatest quarterback of all time. We're always gonna roll with Tom, and we are very appreciative as Bucs fans for him bringing us a Super Bowl in the past 3 years and bringing us to relevance in primetime games and everything that came along with that national relevance, which we haven't had. Tom looked disinterested. Tom did not look like the Tom Brady that we know. I heard somebody compare it to it. He looked like Tom Brady his last season in New England, which was, I'm not going to take contact. I hate what's going on right now, and I'm just going to pretty much bail out of every throw anytime somebody gets close to me. And I can't blame Tom for that. I can't. I can blame play calling for that. I can blame lack of a running game and a lack of respect for running game on that. But I can't really blame Tom for trying to protect himself at 45 years old when you're asked to drop back and pass 63 fucking times in a game at 45 years old in a home playoff game. It's absolutely absurd. Other than that, I mean, listen, we went out there and we got our butts kicked. And, not to put the cart before the horse, but ding dong, Leftwich is dead, by all means.
Breaking news.
Good luck to him in the future. The Bucs have just fired him. I expect sweeping changes from that staff. We talked about this a little bit earlier too. With what Arians went through, when Arians stepped down, pretty much everybody was already committed somewhere and already had a job in place. So Todd Bowles inherited this staff. This was never Todd Bowles' staff. Do I think Todd Bowles did a good job this year? Absolutely not. I think he's terrible when it comes to situational football. It was very debatable on that punt when it's 4th and 4 from your 50. I understood Bowles saying our defense hasn't played terrible here, right? It's 12-0, but if we get a stop, and you can get the ball back, then you're right back in the game. I do understand that aspect of it, and I understand the fan aspect of it.
Well,
and especially the section that I was in, they were not happy that we were not going for it on 4th and 4.
Well, the Bucs can't get 4 yards. Who's to say? I mean, when did they? If that was a dominant offense that was moving the ball or showed any signs of life, then I think you go for a 4th and 4. But they couldn't.
Were you going to run a tunnel screen with Chris Godwin again? I mean, we've run the same 5 plays the entire year.
It really is, and I think that, this just goes back to what we said. I mean, the Bucs are who we thought they were, but for some reason we thought Tampa Tom was going to come in, sprinkle some magic, and something was going to change, and nothing changed. They still ran the same shit offense, no motion, no nothing. It was call the play. Hopefully we have the right play against their defense. And I think you brought up something that you were talking earlier that, Dallas knew what plays that they were going to call because they only run 6 different plays. There's only so many formations. There was no hurry up. There was no audibles that I saw outside the 2 plays that they had called. Again, there was no run support. You're right. Micah Parsons just ate all day long. Just ate all day long. I mean,
closest thing to Lawrence Taylor I think we've ever seen.
I wasn't up in the suites. I was down on close to the field with the common folk, and we were kind of down by the end zone. When he was down there, I mean, he was around in the bat before anybody could even touch him. How
was the vibe down there? Like, and also the other thing I want to say too is, listen, we can say whatever we want, Cowboys fans. Big props to you because you guys showed up and showed the fuck out on Monday night. I'll tell you that right now. When I am sitting in the stands and all I can hear when we're on offense are chants of defense.
Yep. Well, I was down.
That's a problem, dude.
So I'm in section 102, and I'm actually right where the visiting team comes out of the tunnel. So naturally, again, I was around a bunch of Cowboy fans. Now, so this is a double-edged sword because Tampa, very, very transient town. Obviously, very transient town. And the people that are true Tampa fans don't travel.
I traveled. I was there.
Not going to say any names, but, so you have a lot of season ticket holders that sell their tickets because, one, you don't even know if Tom's coming back next year. Two, but I will say that the price of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers tickets are extremely low compared to the rest of the NFL. I remember when me and my wife went to Chicago for a Patriots game, and we were on the last row of the lower bowl, and our tickets face value were $478. My playoff ticket for Section 102, 7 rows up, was $170. So, but the tickets are also going for $500, and as you just pointed out, Dallas fans are scooped it up, and I think that was close to a 50-50 stadium. And
I thought it would be 60-40. I don't think it was 60-40.
No, I think it was pretty close to 50-50, like you
close
said.
to 50-50.
And, from the start, the Bucs fan. Now, I will say, though, the start of that game, the Bucs fans were there and they were loud. That when Dallas had the ball, the very first possessions, the fans showed up. It was loud. It's not deafening, but it was loud.
It was loud, and the flag thing too was really cool with everybody waving the flags at the same time. That was like really cool to be sitting up there and look down on you guys.
The phone sync thing was a complete bust. It didn't work.
They always do that every Monday night game. They do that and it never works.
Never works. I was on it. It was still like looking to sync. It was a debacle. The only joy that we had in the cheap seats was the fact of the Dallas kicker missing all of the field goals. That's all we had. It's just like at the beginning, towards the end of the first half, I looked at the guy behind me that was, Dallas fan, but nice guy. I mean, whatever. And he goes, "Oh, we got the ball again. Let's get 7." I said, "No, we're going to give you 6. We're not going to give you 7. We're only going to give you 6." And of course, they scored, missed the extra point. That had us feeling good going into halftime. We're down there like, yeah. Woo!
And that was one of the loudest roars when he finally made that last extra point. The entire stadium started clapping for him, bro. Like it was almost a troll job. I do want to point out to your thing about traveling, right? So I left at 4 o'clock, 4:15, I want to say, on Monday to go to Tampa to watch the game. Okay, I got to the stadium and I had really good parking passes. We were like 3D or whatever. Like you're literally with the Sprinter vans right there. But I got to the stadium and walked to the stadium at 7:45.
Correct.
Okay?
Well, but also, let me preface that. Okay, so normally for the fans out there from Orlando to Tampa, it's about an hour drive, hour and 15. Okay.
Yes.
That is normal. Like, so when I left at 1 o'clock, I got down there like at 2 o'clock. But everybody knows I-4 is a parking lot, regardless of a Monday night football game, at 4:30, 5 o'clock. That same drive, 4:30 to 5 o'clock, is already going to be at 2 hours. So then, to your point, adding Monday night football playoff traffic, also, was it not holiday weekend?
It was also MLK Day.
Holiday weekend, so everybody travels in Florida. It was a logistical nightmare. I will say the road, we left at the end of the third quarter because obviously they were done and we didn't want to get stuck in that as well. So we hopped in an Uber and went to the casino. And I will say at that point in time, traffic was flowing beautifully.
How did it go at the casino?
It went bad. I made my donation to the Seminole tribe. Hopefully they
might get a comp night out of it though.
Hopefully they can go buy a new Porsche or whatever they want to do with that money. But,
you know what the worst part about that was too was we're driving home, right? And I'm making good time, right? We're rolling. And all of a sudden we get 20 miles from Disney and I see an alert pop up on my Waze. It's like, oh, traffic, it's going to be stopped for a minute. And I pull up and I'm looking, I'm like, that can't be right. They got 2 lanes closed. They're moving everybody over. They decided to pave the roads on I-4 at 1:30 in the morning as I'm driving back. And you talk about just, you're down in the dumps. It's been a tough day. You drove out there, you're driving back, and now you are at a dead standstill at 1:30 in the morning, 30 minutes away from your house.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not.
It was tough. It was tough. Listen,
and recap,
congratulations to the Cowboys.
Hats off to the Cowboys.
To all of our Cowboys fans, you know what I mean? Good for you guys.
The only thing I'm going to say about the Cowboys is I'm not ready to crown them. They had a good game, but you also played an 8-9 team that looked like a wet noodle out there. After Tom Brady ran down the field and actually did his let's fucking go, which he hasn't done in many, many games, I was excited. Then on the Jumbotron during the game, he said let's fucking go, which I was like, oh shit.
Ooh.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. And then after the first quarter, I was like, oh shit.
Well, and then it was so funny too because they had all the players. They have that camera set up at practice, and all the players walked up.
Yeah. The last guy
player said, "Let's fucking go," and they had to bleep the F word out of every single one of them. So it was funny to watch. But every single player said the same thing, and I was fired up. I was like, oh, we're showing up finally.
Yeah,
we're finally gonna show up, and we ran zero motion the whole game. The one play action pass that I saw us run. And this was a tough one for me. I don't understand how this happened. Tom Brady, play action, rolls out to his right, fakes the handoff. Right? I'm sorry, goes to his left, fakes the handoff, rolls out right. As he rolls out right, there is not one wide receiver on that side of the field. But we have 3 wide receivers all in the same area on the other side of the end zone, and he throws the ball completely across his body and across the field.
Yeah, that was
into
interesting.
the end zone.
Yeah.
I'm like,
into triple coverage.
What are we doing into triple coverage? What are we doing?
Well, that brings us to our next is, obviously, every Bucs fan is going to be on the edge of the seat until Brady decides what he wants to do. Brady, even though we all know that Brady had a less than stellar year, but again, I think a lot of this could be all over the offensive scheme. He's going to be able to write his own ticket. Now, to me, I don't think that people are going to be clamoring over to get Tom Brady as they would have been last year. I think you're starting to see a little bit of just the decline. I mean, I'm 45 years old. I mean, obviously you're starting to see a little bit of decline. The game has moved to a different direction where mobile quarterbacks are king. Regardless of whether or not you want to scramble for 1,000 yards like Justin Fields or Lamar Jackson, you need to be able to get out of the pocket like a Joe Burrow or an Allen or Mahomes. But with that being said, the Bucs have already did one. They got rid of Byron Leftwich, which to me, in my opinion as well, Bowles needs to go as well. And the reason for what I'm saying to that is because there was a report that came out that Bowles wanted to fire Leftwich in the middle of the year.
Yes,
because of the lack of play calling, obviously the least amount of offensive in the league. And he did not fire him because he didn't feel like there was anybody better to replace him, and that he hoped that him and Brady would figure it out and drop some magic. To me, the Glazer family, Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich, you just wasted a year of Tom Brady. And when you're 45 years old and you're the greatest quarterback of all time and have proven over and over that you know what the hell you're doing, you don't waste a player like that. And you absolutely wasted him. You had a gift. And I don't care what you want to say about the offensive line. The offensive line struggled, but you still have Mike Evans, one of the best receivers that's ever going to play the game. You have Chris Godwin. You had a little bit, in the same as Tom Brady, Julio Jones. Okay. You still had some good tight ends. Leonard Fournette is still a beast. I don't care. Rachaad White, obviously he came out. You still had the pieces. I'm not buying this stupid shit of just we had a bad offensive line. Absolutely not. There's plays with that much talent around the offensive side of the football. There's plays that you could run to protect against an offensive line. I've watched it for years at the Bears and watched everybody just get at the quarterback. There's things that you can do. Now, obviously, there's things that you can't do with your quarterback that can't really leave the pocket. But there's other things that you can do. And to me, it needs to be a clean house. And if Tom Brady wants to play again and wants to play at Tampa Bay, then Tom Brady, you are now a player coach. What do you want? Who do you want in here? What's the staff that you want to see? What is the offensive side of the structure that you want to see on this football team? And go from there. I think that the Bucks are in a very, very dark place right now. I think that I know the fan base, but I think the players as well. You know, we had Tom Brady and we couldn't get it done. Okay, we had Tom Brady, we couldn't get it done. Do we think? So now we have all the rumors of who the Bucks are going to try to bring in. Are they going to trade for Derek Carr? Are they going to try to get Lamar Jackson? Like, I don't think you understand the bigger issue here is the fact of you had somebody that still can sling the rock, but you had nobody that could design play calls to get Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, and White involved in any type of offensive schemes. And I think that's just a huge hole. A huge hole. I feel sorry for some of these players. You know, I always thought that him and Mike Evans maybe just didn't have... It seems to me like I don't know who was running the helm at offensive coordinator this year. It seemed to me like it was backyard football. You know, pitch and play. But I don't know. I think the Bucs are in absolute shambles right now. Absolute shambles.
You have two options, okay? We have two options here. I think Todd Bowles will get another year, okay? Because I think they'll allow him to bring a staff in that he wants and try to, figure that out. I don't know if Bowles is the guy. I think he deserves one more year to find out if he could be that guy. Now, he's proven that he hasn't been so far, but let's just see what happens, okay? We'll give him one more year. I think Bill O'Brien is a very interesting name. If you're dedicated to keep Tom Brady, also the whole thing as well too with not firing Byron Leftwich in the middle of the season was a big mistake. And also, if Rob Gronkowski calls you and says, "I'm bored, I want to come back," and you pass,
you said no.
Why?
And apparently that report also said not only was he willing to come back, he was willing to sign for another year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's going to play next year. He's going to play next year wherever Tom goes.
Exactly.
So,
and it's just there we go again. Now it's the Tom Brady Gronk circus show. Who's going to clamor to get these guys? And you had the shot. You had the shot. Regardless of what you felt your scheme, if Tom said, maybe I don't know, maybe what Tom said, but I can't. I find it very hard to believe that Tom said, "No, don't bring Gronk back. I'm okay."
Tyson, I want to tell you something. Welcome, and we call this "It's a Bucks Life."
Yeah, well,
this is basically where we're at.
Not for very much longer.
Yeah, no, I know. It will be interesting. Listen, I do think you could bring in a guy like Bill O'Brien. You know, I believe he's been at Alabama for the past few years working with Saban. But, you know, Bryce Young leaves. Now he's got an opportunity to step back into the NFL coaching circle. Tom loved playing with him when Bill O'Brien was in New England for that little bit of time as well, too. He's already familiar with Gronk. Bring Gronk back. I think when Tom looks around, he's going to find that his best situation is still going to be in Tampa because they still have the pieces. We still have the defense that's lined up that can perform. And I think when you look at, like, Las Vegas will be very interesting to Tom, but they have a lot of work they need to do on Las Vegas to get them there. The Jets is another interesting spot because the defense is already good, but they're going to need some offensive line help. You know, does he want to go into the New York media? It'll be interesting to see what he decides in the offseason. I think when he looks around, he will find that the Bucks are the best place for him. Whether he decides to stay with them and whether he trusts the organization to do the right thing. Miami's already committed to Tua for next year.
How? You don't even know concussion protocol, whether he's going to make it through or not.
Supposedly, Mike McDaniel said that they have been told that there is nothing to suggest that he is any more prone to concussion going into next year than anybody else, and that they will work with him all offseason on how to fall better and avoid planting your head directly into the turf whenever you get knocked down or fall over. So
well, that's good.
They're committed to Tua, and kudos to them. Go for Tua. But like I said, now when you look around the league, there's not a lot of spots for Brady to go where he's going to be immediately successful. And also, if you still look at our division is still in a complete rebuild, right? When it goes to
the division is shambles.
Carolina's still in a rebuild. New Orleans, I don't trust Dennis Allen at all. He's back next year. They have no idea what they're going to do at quarterback next year.
I think
you got the Falcons. Ritter's not the Ritter could be the guy, I guess. I don't know. But our entire division is in shambles still. You have an opportunity for one more year. Grab it by the horns. Come back, Tom. Come back, Tom. One more year, man.
Well, I think another good thing is
one more year.
You know, the Sean Payton deal as well. I mean, because obviously he was already tied to him. It looks to me he's going to Denver. that looks to be the early prelims is that he's going to Denver. So Peyton,
Let's see how Dallas performs this week.
I think Mike McCarthy's there. I don't think he's going anywhere. But like you said, and I don't think you know what? I'll tell you what is I don't think Dallas would give up the capital to get Peyton because Jerry Jones ain't giving up those picks.
He also wants 20 to 25 million a year.
Yeah. I don't know. And Denver's going to pay it. Denver's got the most money. Like as far as they're all billionaires, but they just don't care. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. We wrapped up the Bucs season. We were there. We raised the flag.
Over.
We got our mask shot off, broken half. It's over. The ship's
down.
What?
Listen, if this is the end of it, Bucs fans, if this is the end of it,
you got a Super Bowl
on it. We got a Super Bowl out of it. It was an amazing 3 years to be a Bucs fan. We went to every game thinking we were going to win. It's been amazing. Let's look back at the memories and just be grateful for them.
Last Super Bowl I got here was 1985.
I was having this conversation with our friend Ian, and he was literally just screaming at me at the bar the other night because he's a Commander fan, and they're just angry. So
who the Bears are playing next year, but the Bears come to Tampa next year. Here we go. All right, so let's dive in. So obviously we got our playoff games this weekend. We got some good games. The spreads are a little kooky, in my opinion. But let's start off with our home Jags that I picked to win over the San Diego Chargers against Mahomes and the Chiefs in Arrowhead. And nobody is giving the Jags a chance in this game. I'm giving the Jags a chance. I think that the Chiefs are not the same Chiefs as they were. I think the Jags have a solid defense. Hopefully, they have the game plan. There's only two people you got to stop. Well, I guess. It's easier said than done. You got Mahomes and Kelsey. Well, obviously, I have both in my playoff. Or I just have Kelsey in my playoff challenge. It's, nobody's giving him a chance. 9 points, that's a lot to me. I really saw the Jags come alive in the second half. I think that's the Jags team that we all thought was going to be on the field. They came out. Can they put it together for 2 quarters against the Chiefs? Because that is what it will take to beat the Chiefs.
You mean 4 quarters?
Yeah, I'm sorry, 2 halves is what I meant. Yeah, 4 quarters. That's the biggest question. Is Sunshine going to show up in the first half? I don't know. I don't know. I think that this is one of those points. It's either going to be a very, very close game or it is going to be a blowout. There's going to be no in between. I don't.
I love the Jags here.
I think that they could just sneak in. Nobody's giving them a shot. But then again, I know Andy Reid is giving them their due diligence. I know that. So I don't know, man.
Andy Reid's a great coach.
Andy Reid's a great coach. The fact when the Eagles let him go, that was just one of those head scratchers. But I guess eventually it's a franchise. I guess you just got to move on. But I haven't. He's got to be one of the longest coaches in the NFL consecutively. He's been in there for 20 years?
Something like that. Dating back to Brett Favre and Green Bay and,
Yeah,
that Packers staff was crazy when you look back on it. Listen, to expound on this game, I love Jacksonville here. I think Jacksonville is going to be able to create enough pressure on Mahomes to make him uncomfortable. I think they have the talent on offense to keep up in this game. What's the total on this game right now? 52.5. Give me the over on that all day, baby. Let's go. I'm taking the Jags money line. I'm taking the Jags +9. I'm taking the over in this game. Book it all. Jacksonville wins this game. I just have a sneaky feeling that they are just right now a team of destiny until they run into a different team of destiny, and we'll get to that in a few games. But I love what Lawrence is doing. I think Doug Peterson has these guys playing at a high level, and I think when you get these teams that are going to go on the road and they literally are, nobody expects them to win. They're playing with house money. They're playing downhill the whole game. It's going to be interesting to see. I mentioned that about the Bucs, right? And I said we can't play reactionary football. We have to be the enforcer and put our will and our stamp on that game. And what did we do? We were reactionary the entire game. It was terrible. Jacksonville is not going to be that way. They're going to come out. Listen, Mahomes is going to.
They were against the Chargers, though.
But okay, completely different. That's your first ever playoff game for most of those guys.
Yeah.
All right. I love the confidence of Trevor Lawrence. They asked him today, "Are you worried about what it's going to be like in Arrowhead?" He said, "I can't tell you that Arrowhead's going to be any louder than what it was in Duval." Okay, listen, they've been in that pressure-packed environment at home. They won. I love the Jags. Give me the Jags everywhere, every which way.
How does the Jags pack the stadium more than Tom Brady and the Bucks?
Absolutely insane, but they care about football more in Jacksonville.
You know why? Because there ain't no St. Pete Beach in Jacksonville.
That's true. Yeah. No, it ain't the same, bro. Duval, Hillsbury, it's not the same, bro. It's definitely not the same. For sure not.
We'll get to the end. We'll make our final picks here, but it's really going to be hard to go against the Chiefs on the money line. That's all I'm going to say. So the next game after that, we got the Giants getting 7.5 against the Eagles.
Yeah.
Again, I'm pretty much underdog city besides one game. The Giants really, really impressed me last week. I mean, from top to bottom. I mean, Daboll's got that team just rolling. However, the Eagles are just absolutely loaded from top to bottom. Defense is stout. Weapons. I mean, you got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, two of the best, speed receivers. You got, speed in Devontae. You got the size in A.J. for the throw-up balls. I think this is where this Cinderella story ends. And like you said before, if Daboll's not the coach of the year, then I don't know who votes on this crap. But I just
deserves it more.
I just think, like Jalen Hurts was saying, he knows that he has a bounty on his head every time he steps on the field. As they talked about what the Giants targeting your shoulder. He knows this. I think that everyone knows this. I think that the Eagles tweaked the game plan a little bit. But again, I think that the Giants coaching staff knows this as well. I don't think you're going to see him as much run, or if you do see it, I think you're going to see a little bit more of a safety. But I think that the Eagles are going to try to pound the ball. And the Giants' run defense is a little suspect, if I remember correctly. I see the Eagles pounding, and then all of a sudden you're just going to see that deep ball take over.
I completely agree with you. I think it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. I think that it's funny because the Eagles have such a good offensive line. One of the big pluses for the Giants has been their defensive line. It's been amazing, right? Between Lawrence and Thibodeau and these guys, they've been absolutely phenomenal. Now, the Eagles are getting back Lane Johnson, right? They're getting back the Maddox kid on defense as well, too. I do like Philly here. I think if you're betting the game, I'd probably take the Giants plus the 7.5. I feel like it's a pretty safe bet. I don't think there's a lot of points scored in this game. It reminds me a little bit of the Green Bay game where the Eagles were able to just kind of run all over them. Miles Sanders is going to have to show up in this game. I think like a Kenneth Gainwell anytime scoring touchdown is kind of a fun little thing as well too, because it seems to me Miles Sanders will just matriculate the ball down the field, and then they get in the goal line situation, they hand the ball off to Kenneth Gainwell every single time. So that'd be a fun little nugget to throw in there as well too. Like I said, not a lot of points scored. Daboll's been absolutely fantastic this year. The Giants are going to just keep on building on this momentum that they have created. Unfortunately, I do think this comes to an end in this game here.
Point total 48. The same as the Bengals-Bills.
I'm sorry?
The same as the Bengals and Bills. Bengals-Bills point total is 48.5. Giants-Eagles 48.
Okay, 48.5. Are we just gonna we're jumping off of the Giants game now, right?
I'm just pointing out the fact that you think it's a low scoring game. I'm just throwing out to the fact that, when you think of the Giants offense, you don't think of a powerhouse offense. You think of a grinded out offense. The Eagles you see as a high flying. But then you have the next game behind it. Both offenses are juggernauts and the total's the same. That's kind of
super weird.
That's all I'm getting at. So, I mean, when you're
going to be snowing in Buffalo? Is it like a big snow game in Buffalo or weather-wise or whatever it is? I mean, I'm not really sure.
I'm sure it'll be cold, but I don't know. But yeah, I think that you're definitely right. I think it's going to be a drag out. I think that unfortunately for the Giants, it does end there. But what a season I was listening to a lot of other, analysis, and they were talking about how this was just really a feel-out year for the Giants, just to see, what they had in Daniel Jones and what they had in the entire staff. And, oh, my goodness. I mean, if you're a Giants fan, you got to be on cloud nine, regardless of what happens, that your franchise is on the up and up, a few more good picks, maybe a trade here and there. Maybe you go out and get, a DeAndre Hopkins for your guy. But a couple pieces away. I mean, I think the Giants are going to be there, and I think with that head coach and that coaching staff, the Giants are going to be around for a long time. And we used to talk about the NFL East as the NFL least. If you look at it, right? So the NFL least was like that for 2 to 3 years, right? And then they got the picks, develop. Now look at it. Now you got the outside of the Commanders. I mean, the Commanders are just the toilet of the NFL, the NFC East now. But, yeah, they are. They're the toilet. And toilet bowl.
Ian, I do not feel that way, okay? Just for the record, I do not feel that way, all right? You heard that from Tyson Thomas, not from Jeff Schneider, all right?
That's right. Well, you tell me which team the Commanders are better than right now in the NFL East.
I'm not saying that. But to say that they're the toilet bowl when they were, one game off. I mean, they tied the Giants. Anyway, whatever.
Exactly.
We're not going to get into that. They beat the Eagles, whatever. Listen, I'm going to say this. I think that their arrow is definitely pointing up when it comes to the Giants. It'll be very interesting to see what they do with Daniel Jones in the offseason.
You got to extend him, right?
Well, but what I'm saying is that the deal that they could have gotten before this playoff run started is not the deal that you're going to be able to get now after he's performed so well. So how much are you willing to throw at this guy? How many years are you willing to throw at this guy? If you had talked to Giants fans before the season, they were 50-50 on whether they wanted to keep him or not. So it'll be interesting to see what they go with after this year. But I think it'll be a really good game. I do like the Eagles in this spot, though.
I'm going 4 years, $100 million. I think he can get 25.
Feels like way below market value for what he should be getting.
Well, I mean, you gotta look at the
$5 million a year, in my opinion.
The top are getting 50. I think we can agree he's not going to get Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Mahomes money.
Neither should he. But what I'm saying is the discount that you could have gotten has now been,
I think
we'll
could.
See what Daniel Jones decides to do.
You probably could have gotten him for like $15-20 million a year for a couple years.
I would franchise tag him personally.
Well, but then again, is he going to play? As we're now seeing with Lamar. We'll get into that a little bit as well. But yes, I think we're both on the same there. So then we go up to the Bengal Bills, which is probably the game that everybody is going to be so fired up for. It's going to be a great. I cannot believe they put that as a 3:00 game. I really cannot believe. Now I realize that the Cowboys are going to San Francisco, and in my opinion, though, the Bills-Bengals should have been the night game on Sunday. But instead, it's a 3:00 start time. Also, just weird. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be what we all expect. I think you're going to see a lot of Jamar Chase, a lot of Stephon Diggs, a lot of Josh Allen, a lot of Joe Burrow. One of the things I thought was pretty funny, I think it was Josh Allen they were talking, and they asked him if he prepares any different when he plays Joe Burrow, and he just was like, what are you talking about? I put my pants on the same way regardless. I don't. Was that the question? I thought they asked if he looks at dressing any differently when he plays Joe Burrow. And Josh Allen said no, because I'm not that guy. I'm not going into my closet. He goes, Joe Burrow is always going to win the outfit game every single time. Every single time we show up to the game, Joe Burrow has won that aspect of it. I'm just going in there, throwing on pants and a shirt and getting to the game. Okay.
Joe Burrow's got an entire fit ready.
And that, boys and girls, is why social media clips are absolutely garbage. Because I only got the clip. I didn't get the preface nor the whatever the hell it is called on the back end. Bengals are getting 5.5 points, which is very, very interesting to me because to me this is a field goal. It is going to be in Buffalo, which we all know the weather is going to be something up there. Both these teams last week looked super suspect. They both look super, super suspect. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you're going to see more turnovers in this game than you have in either one of these two games in the previous 5-6 games. I think that there's going to be some turnovers. I think that there's going to be some forced passes. However, I really think in order for the Bengals to win, they have to look at Joe Mixon. They have to get him going. They have to get him going good. The Buffalo running game, Cook has put up some good numbers. Singletary struggled a little bit as late. And then, you're looking at playoff defenses. Again, 5.5 to me. I mean, that's just another dog city in my opinion. I would take the Bengals 5.5. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are I think it's going to be a shootout. I think everything you said is correct. I think it gets tough, especially with the Bills, because like if you look at the Devin Singletary and the Cook situation, right? Cook is obviously the more talented running back, right? He looks better, he runs better, he's better in the open field, but you're in a playoff game, you don't want to turn the ball over. I will ask you this question. Do you think if there's a forced throw somewhere by one of these quarterbacks, who do you think is forcing that throw and getting picked off?
I think they both are. I think
you think both of them are. Okay.
I think you're going to see picks from both of them.
So the Bengals, historically in the past 2 years of the playoffs, have been very, very fortunate when it comes to turnovers. They have the turnover margin is like insanely high. Like I think last year in their 4 games, it was something like 9-2, right, or something like that. They turned it over twice. They had 9 turnovers that they created. I think the Bengals. I don't think the Bengals are as good of a football team as we think they are right now. They lost a few pieces on their offensive line. Which wasn't great to begin with already. I do think that'll be an issue for them. Obviously, the weapons that they have are very, very similar in terms of you got 2 great wide receivers. If you were going to pick, a set of receivers, you would definitely go with the Bengals options.
Oh, the Bengals are just loaded.
See, it's very interesting too that they do it at 5.5 because and this year is different in OT where if you score, the other team has an opportunity to score as well too. So that takes out that overtime rule of a team getting the ball, coming down, scoring 6 points, and the game's over and you lose by the hook.
Correct.
I do think Buffalo wins this game. I would stay absolutely away from the spread. I would only take the over. And that's pretty much my thoughts on it. I think Josh Allen will have a great game. I think he probably will turn the ball over once or twice. And I just think Buffalo's probably a better team than Cincinnati, and I think the things that Buffalo has gone through, they've been a team of destiny so far with what they've gone through this season. When you look at, like natural disasters that have happened in Buffalo and, how they've had to respond and the city's had to rally around them and all this stuff, I do believe that does have something to do with it as well, too, and I think Buffalo is a team of destiny this year.
What natural disaster happened in Buffalo?
Homie, like 50 people died. They had like a Category 5 hurricane that was a snowstorm that snowed everybody. And people died in their cars, and like it was bad. Wow. It was really bad. Yeah,
I didn't know.
So
that.
Between that, I mean, Hamlin, and everything going on right now, it just feels like this is a year that Buffalo gets to the Super Bowl.
Kind of like the Saints and Katrina year, huh?
Yep.
Think that's rigged?
No. Do I think that they rigged a natural disaster for a really
not the natural disaster. Come on. I'm talking about the fact that New Orleans won it immediately after Katrina. A little suspect. So now we got Buffalo coming back, and glad that Damar Hamlin, he's back. He's on his own. He's healthy.
Yeah, doing great. I'm sure he'll be there.
I don't know. He said that he didn't
talk about a boost. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So then we got the Cowboys and the Niners. Honestly, this just seems like a snooze fest to me, to be perfectly honest. I don't have much to say about this one. I think Brock Purdy gets it done. I think the Cowboys faced a depleted Bucs team that didn't really give a shit to be on the field. I think that they're riding high. I do feel like, though, that the Bucs team gave the Cowboys a lot of momentum in their head, a lot of confidence. We just beat Tom, regardless of what product Tom put out there. You still beat Tom Brady at home in the playoffs, and I think that that's going to give them a boost. However, just the San Francisco just has too many weapons, and I think that they're going to outcoach the Cowboys. I think it's going to be a decent game, but I think at the end the Niners pull away from it.
No, I agree. I'm definitely taking San Francisco in this one. I don't know. I don't know about the Cowboys because I can't judge them off of that last playoff game because I just
the Bucs
feel
were
like
so
we
terrible,
so bad and checked out, and it was just absolutely atrocious.
it felt like a bye week for Dallas.
I want for my Cowboy fans, right? For my Fitzpatrick boys, for Buff, for Schuler, for Chad, for all you boys. I hope the Cowboys show up and they give San Francisco all that they can handle. I think defensively it's going to be very tough, especially in their secondary. I was watching some stuff getting broke down by Dan Orlovsky in terms of how the 49ers use their personnel and how tough it is to be able to adjust to that. And Shanahan's a genius, man. He is so good at putting people in the right spots, getting the ball in playmakers' hands, to where, you can have a pretty good quarterback.
I see what you did there.
Francisco seems like another one of those teams of destiny to me. I think they're really, really good. Probably the best skill set, top to bottom roster that I've ever seen in my life. Really good.
Who lost to the Chicago Bears?
And if it wasn't for them, they would be the number 1 seed in the NFL.
Bear down, baby.
Justin Fields.
Jay Fields. Well,
Yes.
like I said, we agree on that. We're going to talk about a couple other things, and then we're just going to we'll roll down, make the picks again. I would like to just congratulate myself, Jeffrey, all of you out there at the Uninformed Fan. It appears like we're getting shit done in the NFL. News story broke today that the NFL is finally considering hiring referees full time. Hats off. Give yourself a pat on the back. I guess they got tired of seeing, a shocker that a McDonald's manager blows a call on Sunday to cost a $1 billion franchise going into the playoffs. I did see, however, that I do believe it was the actual head refs or something. They make 200 G's a year as it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
200 G's a year for 18 to 19 games.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And that's not full time. That's part time. Now,
do you think that's over or underpaid?
I think it's about
confused.
I think it's about right where it should be as a full time employee.
Okay.
I would see $200,000. I mean, obviously, if you want to look at the grand scheme of things, it's an egregious amount of money for the actual work performed. Okay. Now, with that being said, knowledge is power, and that's the same reason you pay an electrician $165 to flip a switch that you couldn't figure out. Knowledge is power. And they are determining the NFL playoffs. They are determining the NFL seasons.
Yes.
They are deciding the games. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
You can have the best players on both sides. The refs are deciding the games, no matter what, hands down. Doesn't really matter. I mean, a missed pass interference call, a called pass interference call, that's a game changer. An offsides, or a false start that's missed that allows an opportunity for another player to make a play to decide the game. That is going to cost the game. So kudos to the NFL. I don't know if they're going to do it. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if it's going to improve anything. But, I will say that it looks like the NFL is finally getting together and they're going to put some things together. They already got the expedited replays, which was absolutely huge. The fact that I don't have to throw a challenge factor, something that was so egregious that somebody that's watching it on a camera can say, hey, bro, like, you fucked that up. Reverse that now.
Well, but in the playoff game, the Bucs had to use a challenge. Did you see how quickly that challenge came back? Were you there for that, or did you leave already?
Nah, I was gone.
The Bucs literally challenged a play. They had to challenge a play. It was a clear catch. But they had to challenge a play. They challenged the play. Literally, they say the Bucs have challenged the play. The ref took 5 steps to the right and then came back and go, the call in the field has been overturned with a complete catch. It was the quickest review I've ever seen in my life. He never even went to the tent. They just literally buzzed down and said, hey, you fucked up. You don't got to charge him a timeout. But we had to use the challenge for it still. It's ridiculous.
Listen, at least they're looking at it.
From getting Byron Leftwich fired to full-time refs, here at the Uninformed Fan, we just get shit done, bro.
We do. We get shit done. We got Leftwich gone. I think Todd Bowles is going to get a stern talking to. He might get some time out in the corner. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next thing is we need to get Tom Brady on the show to talk to Tom Brady.
There are some behind the scenes things in the works. We're gonna see what can happen.
Yeah, we get him on a phone call.
No better place for Tom Brady to go than a podcast that nobody listens to if he's gonna spill some shit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, nobody's gonna hear it, Tom. Nobody's gonna hear it. It's just three guys talking on a Discord call.
Just us. It's just us on a Discord call, bro. We're just hanging out.
We will not promote that one bit. No.
Hop into the Discord.
We're not in it for the clout, buddy. We just want the info.
Absolutely not. We're just here to hang out and talk with our friends.
The last thing that we're gonna touch on in this very somber Uninformed Fan podcast, we got to go back to college, and unfortunately, my Gators are once again in the limelight for what they do and cannot do.
I just want to give you a hug, bro. Yeah. I just want to give you like a virtual hug right now because
Thank you.
I feel for you, bro.
So our quarterback, Jaden Rashad, backs out. Asked for his decommitment letter from the University of Florida based on the NIL commitments that I don't know. Nobody's going to know the details of this outside of the Gator Collective, the NIL people, and him and his team. Now, the only thing I'm going to say about this whole thing is the NIL is just absolutely out of control. Many reports are saying this is a deal worth $13 million. Some are saying it's not. Even if it's 10%, even if it's 20%, it's too much money. And this takes us back to why C.J. Stroud was contemplating going back to Ohio State. Now, you got to think about this for a second. If a college quarterback who is projected to go in the top 5, possibly number 1 overall, is even considering going back to play college because of a paycheck, there's an obscene amount of money involved. The fact that we are now paying college quarterbacks NFL money to play, to me, is absolutely egregious. Now, with that also being said, do they deserve to be paid? Absolutely. Do they deserve to get their market share? How much money is this company bringing in, the school bringing in? I don't know. Okay. All I know is a dude sitting on a couch watching, a guy play 12 games, right? I have 6 home games, 12 games over a year. To be, getting this over whatever type of a commitment that they're getting. I don't know. But I will say this as well. If the Florida NIL Gator Collective made a commitment to this young man and said, this is what we're going to give you, and then turns around and says, oops, I know you signed, but you're not getting this now, then shame on them. Shame on the university. Shame on whoever is involved with it. And good for you, kid. Go do what you want to do. At the end of the day, I don't know how this stuff is going to work out. Somebody's going to step in and regulate it. And unfortunately, I think it's something that's going to have to be done. But the fact of just the numbers that are being thrown out here, and this isn't coming from universities, guys. This isn't coming from the universities. This is coming from boosters. This is coming from people who are just chipping in money, paying $10 a month to try to buy players to come to your school. Mm-hmm. It's not sustainable, and it's not fair for the smaller schools. It's just, when is USF ever going to be relevant again? They're not. When's Florida Atlantic ever going to be relevant? No, it's not. And when you look at the smaller schools, not everybody has the money. And when we get to a pay-for-play program, that's what the NFL is. So to your point the other day, if this is what we're going to go to, is a complete pay-for-pay in college football, then just abolish all of the conferences. All of them. Just make it one giant conference and figure out the scheduling from there. If you're at a Power 6 school, guess what? You're not a Power 6, you're a Power 1 school. All of you are all in there. There's going to be no more cupcake games, which we saw with the Georgia schedule, the Alabama schedule next year. Oh, guess what? Week 1, you're going to Michigan. Hey, guess what? Week 2, you're going to Florida. Guess what? Miami, week 3, you're going to Ohio State. If that's the way it's going to be, then let the big dogs eat, just the way that they do with the high school preps, right? The academies that can't go play. You're not going to have the Foundation Academy playing Windermere High School. They might. I don't know. It's just an example. College is just screw. I don't know, man. College.
So I have a few thoughts on it. To be honest with you, I think the Rashada thing. Listen, from what I understand about it is that a number was said. I don't think that it was $13 million for 4 years. It could be, and I could be completely mistaken by that. I understand from what I know is that the entire Gator Collective for this year, their operating budget for players is $13 million completely. So I don't see them, right, spending half of that money on one player. You know, obviously quarterback is a very important position, and who knows, at the end of the day, we're all going to find out because there's going to be a lawsuit about it, right? Somebody's going to get sued one way or another. Now, they have already released him from his national letter of intent. He is free to go wherever he wants to. We will see where he lands. I'm going to assume it's going to be Miami. I'm just going to throw that out there. He's going to go to Miami and get a check from Life Wallet and Mr. Ruiz down there. I think what you were talking about, you're onto something. I think what it is you keep your conferences, all right? Let's keep the conferences. We're going to expand the conferences, though, okay, to bring in everybody under this huge conference umbrella, right, for each conference. Now, there's no divisions in these conferences, right? You're going to play whoever you play, you know, whatever it goes like. However, if you finish first, second, third, fourth, whatever it is, now the ACC is going to play the Big Ten, or the Pac-12 is going to play the SEC. And if you finished one and somebody else finished one, now you guys play each other next year. It's the same thing they do in the NFL, right? Like when you like the Bucks won the division, they have to play a number one division winning schedule next year, which is all they have to play the other division winners and so on and so forth.
How about this?
That would be a better answer to it.
How about this? How about NCAA football adapts Champion League soccer formats?
So what, relegation?
Absolutely. You want to be in the top conference? You want to play the top teams?
I'm cool with it.
The top teams stay at the top. The rest of them go down to play UCF.
I'm cool with it.
I mean, then you got all the powerhouses all at the top, right? And the playoffs are all going to be at the top. They're all going to be Champions Leagues or at the top. And if you get derelegated down to the secondary league, guess what? You're out of it.
But Tyson, I don't think if the kid was only there for a paycheck anyway,
I don't care.
It wouldn't have worked out, bro.
I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Like I told you before, I don't get excited about anybody until they're on the field because.
Well, like for instance, you were talking about Stroud, right, as being a first round pick. Well, Florida State had a defensive end, Jared Verse. He was projected to go in the first round. Jared Verse decided that he feels like there was unfinished business at Florida State this year, and they built on a lot, and he decided to come back. I don't want to say it was just for NIL money. I'm sure he's getting a bag. I'm sure he's getting a couple $100K for coming back. Absolutely, as he should. He should also take out insurance on himself to make sure that if he gets hurt and his draft stock falls out of the first round, that you're going to insure yourself some money based off of that. These are all things that are in play now.
I like that. I like that attitude, the old school attitude. I want to win a championship here. And
that's what he said. He said, I'm only back to, because Florida State calls it the climb, right? He said, I'm only back to finish the climb and to get this program where we think that it should be in relevance. So, listen, thank you for coming back as a Florida State fan, a diehard, went to school there, born in Tally. We appreciate you, and we welcome you back with open arms. And everybody who left as well, too, anybody who left Florida State this year and entered the transfer portal, I hope nothing but the absolute best for you guys. You guys are all great young men, and I hope you go on to great success as well, too.
Here. And I think it just goes back to what you said. I mean, we want people that want to play for our teams. If you're just coming here for a paycheck, then but then that's on the coaching staff and everybody else. You have to know that, right? You have to know that because at some point it said, okay, I'm ready to come on, but this isn't enough. I need.
But
this.
That's why the transfer portal is so good, Tyson, because you already get a feel for how these kids are. Yeah, and now you have tape on them. Now you know their character. Now you know what they're about. It's amazing. Anyway, I'm off of it.
All right, let's finish it up here. Let's get these picks in. So we got Jags Chiefs. I am going with the Chiefs.
I'm going with Jacksonville. Duval. Let's go, baby.
All right. We got Giants Eagles. I am going with the Eagles.
Both on the Eagles.
I'm taking the Bengals against the Bills.
Give me Buffalo all day, man. Hey, yo, Buffalo. Let's go, baby.
I think we're both on San Francisco as well.
We're both on San Francisco as
well.
So
the only difference is the Bengals and the Bills. So could Jeffrey close the gap?
What do you mean? I took Jacksonville. You took Kansas City.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I can swing it back in 1 week.
Well, we'll see how that goes. Well, thanks everybody for coming in. Join us on a Thursday. We really appreciate everybody. The comments, chats, whatever. Appreciate you guys jumping in. For those of you that review the VOD, make sure you guys follow us on the socials over there. In a couple more episodes, you are going to start seeing a few more of the clips out on social media, stuff like that, to try to get our word out. So we really appreciate you guys. The likes, the follows, all that stuff helps the algorithm for the VOD to get discovered. So thank you very much. Jeffrey, you have a great time in D.C. I expect many pictures. Try to, maybe get a little butt pinch on Joe. See what his face looks like. Maybe he likes it.
He might smell my hair. Some weird shit though. That's the only thing that I'm worried about. Like, do I get that moment? You know what I mean? I'm going to get a haircut like right now before I hop on this jet. Listen, thank you everybody for the love. You
guys taking a PJ?
Yeah, we got a PJ. It's just a few of us hopping on. Me, Manny, and some people. I just want to appreciate all the love, man. Like I've talked to a lot of people like out in the streets and out in my everyday life that say that they're tuning in and watching, and just thank you guys so much, man. Like honestly, like we're just doing this for fun and hanging out and having a good time, but the fact that you guys actually are paying attention to what we're saying and talking to me about it in real life in person is very, very cool as well too. So thank you, DC. I'm on my way. I'm about to be inside of you. I love you. You guys have a great weekend. Peace and love, everybody.
I got weird. Have a good night.